Just like Paige, we have a lot of chores and a lot of animals here on the farm, and I thought it would be fun to introduce you to one of my favorite roosters. So, right after the story today, I will introduce you to King George here.
Hi, my name is Wendy Swore, and I'm going to be reading Chapter 3 of The Wish and the Peacock. And we're reading from inside the combine today. Chapter 3, Chickens are terrible at sharing. Remember in Chapter 2, they just found a peacock. Gentle as can be, I slide my fingers over the bones in his legs, wings, and arms. His feathers are soft and silky, like new wheat that's only ankle high. They cover my hands as I work. At last I sit back, no breaks that I can find. That means a tiny fracture or maybe a sprain, but nothing we can splint. Our best bet is to keep him quiet and fed. Scotty and I set about making a cage from panels of our old rabbit hutch. The cage is partly to keep the peacock quiet and partly to keep him safe, in case a raccoon or skunk comes by and decides he wants a tasty treat. While I tie off the last corner, Scotty brings water and food pans filled with chicken scratch and a little cat food for good measure. Geese and turkeys need the extra protein, so a real wild bird like this has got to need more than grain for dinner. The peacock doesn't seem to mind the fuss too much, either because he's weak and tired or maybe because he knows we're trying to help. The graceful neck extends as the peacock pecks at the feed, his tiny black crown of feathers bobbing. I could watch him all day, but the chickens cluck louder and a couple of hens squawk like all this waiting is the rudest thing ever. All their fuss breaks the spell, and miracle or no, chores are waiting. Come on, let's get the chickens out. We can come right back when we're done. Scotty lingers by the cage. Remember when we nursed the goose back to health with Mom? He tugs his collar like he does when he's nervous. I remember. Outside of horses, the birds have always been Mom's favorites. That took weeks, maybe a month before it could walk again. Yeah, but he got better, didn't he? What if we don't have time enough to make him better? He asks. I don't know. Maybe we can stall or change their minds? But I don't believe it, because I already tried, and it was as much use as standing in a creek telling the water to go back on up the hill. Have you seen Mama? Is she making lunch in the house? Scotty's eyes drift past mine. Maybe. She was at the horse barn before. Let's get the chores done quick and see. The best thing for a stressed animal is to let it be. We don't know what he's been through, but it's got to be something big for him to end up here. We'll check back later. We scuttle back from the peacock and climb down to let the hens out of the coop. I don't have to look to know the whole flock stands by the door, their pea-sized brains almost overloaded with excitement for pasture waiting on the other side. When I pull the sliding door up, an explosion of feathers erupts from inside, and I can't help but smile at the way the girls come charging out into the sunshine, their wings beating like crazy. None of them really fly, but they hop and run around, flapping their wings, pretending as hard as they can. It's all happy coos and clucks until a Rhode Island Red scratches up a worm. Then they're after her faster than hawks on a hare. She dashes to the far side of the pasture, worm flapping like a tiny pink flag out the side of her beak. But white leghorns are faster, and one snatches half the worm right out of the red's mouth. The rest of the girls switch from chasing the red one to the white, and off they go until another one finds a bug and it starts all over. Mom calls them characters. But I think they're more like drama queens, always preening and squawking and strutting around. I admit, chickens might be cute, but they're terrible at sharing. When we get our chores done, we hunt around for Mom. T-Rex helps too, sort of. He follows and finds good piles of straw and grass to lie on, watching us with droopy eyes while we look. He's supposed to guard the whole farm, but I think he's decided pups like us need more looking after than most. Difference is, we watch out for him now, too. We find Mom standing between sacks of empty pots with her back against the horse barn wall, eyes closed. Under her freckles, she's as pale as Grandma's porcelain dolls, this year more than normal. Her ponytail is loose, having given up for the day, trying to hold her strawberry blonde hair up off her shoulders. She's real pretty, even times like now when she doesn't care how she looks. Mama and me have got two skin tones, white with freckles or burned with more freckles. That's why we wear long sleeves. and the widest cowboy hats we could find all summer. We even got matching sombreros if the wind would ever quit. Scotty's the lucky one. He can tan some if he wants. Not as much as Dad, but still, even a little tan, it's better than none. All Dad ever had to do was think about sunshine, and he'd wake up 3 shades darker. I open my mouth, but close it again because I don't know how to say the things I need to say. Are you really going to sell the farm? Are you really going to let Dolly sell the horses? Do you know the thought of losing Queenie or anyone else feels like jamming a crowbar inside my chest and prying up my heart? Even if I did figure out how to say something all knotted up inside me, I'm not sure she'd hear me. Not really. Her eyes flutter open and she smiles at us like she's waking from a dream. Hey, darling, what's going on? She pulls us into a hug, each of us tucked under her wing. I point at the upturned pots. Calendar says we're supposed to transplant tomatoes this week. Can we get some starch from McKee's? Scotty nods. They have baby goats in the petting zoo there. We should go. We're not getting baby goats. Mom kisses the top of his head and leans in to kiss mine, but I pull back. We can get tomatoes, right? We need seeds and stuff too. Radishes need to go in, beets, carrots, peas. It's time to plant. The longer she waits before answering, the harder it is to breathe. Like my lungs can't work without the right answer. I don't know, honey. Maybe we don't need a garden this year. I wave my hand like it's no big deal, except it is a big deal. Don't worry. Me and Scotty, we can plant it ourselves. Maybe Dad left some seeds from last year. We can check. You don't have to help if you don't want to. I know what to do. Gardens are a promise. With planting comes harvest, but you got to be around to do the work. The calendar says radishes takes 22 days to grow, less than a month. What does it mean if Mom doesn't even want to plant those? How about we go for a walk instead? Mom says. The 3 of us. We haven't been up in the hills yet this spring. That's not the answer I wanted. But at least she wants to do something other than study for her nursing school or hide in her room. Heck, I'm excited she wants to do anything at all. Can we take the horses? Scotty asks. You could ride Queenie. She shakes her head before he finishes speaking. I can't. Not today. But she could if she wanted to. You wouldn't have to ride, I say. We could walk them with their lead ropes. They haven't been anywhere but pasture and barns since... Mom pushes away from the wall. I need to work on something in the house. You both see if your grandpa needs help, okay? She doesn't wave, or look back, or say goodbye. Standing together, we watch Mom disappear into the house. Paige, why does Mom hate horses now? Did Queenie do something bad? No, Queenie didn't do anything. His fingers twist, and he drops his gaze to the ground. Did we? What? Did we do something? Is that why? No, it's not your fault. Come on, let's go check our peacock. His question rings in my head as we walk to the barn, even though I try to ignore it. I already know the real answer. If it's anyone's fault, it's mine. An hour later, a car engine purrs up the lane and T-Rex growls. The Cadillac is back, and I glare at it. No one will talk to me about what's going on, and I can't fix it until I know what's broke. I'm done being in the dark. I tug Scotty's sleeve. Let's go. Dolly's up the stairs and inside before we can get to the house, so I pull Scotty down beside me and huddle against the wall under the open dining room window. The grown-ups have already started talking. Grandpa with his garbled voice, like he's holding a mouthful of chick feed in his cheeks and has to talk through the crumbs. Then my mom's sweet voice. Too quiet and hollow without the music that should be there. Drowning them both out is Dolly with her list of must-dos and you'll see I'm right. And trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I swear it's like that snake on that jungle movie saying trust in me all the time with its eyeballs full of swirls and colors. Maybe that's how hypnotizing works. Just say trust me 100,000 times until people's brains turn to mush and they give in. Miss Dolly says she moved here because her husband is a professor at ISU. I'm not exactly sure what a psychology professor teaches, but it sounds awful sneaky. And I bet he taught her everything he knows. How soon can you empty out the barns? Dolly asks. And something clinks, maybe Mom's china tea set. The thought of Dolly's poisoned lips touching those special cups makes me sick. We'll have to wash them with turpentine to get all that lipstick off." "You want the equipment out?" asked Mom. "Of course, and everything else as well. They must be vacant to show properly. Trust me, the animals have got to go. The smell alone would turn prospective buyers away." "But it's a farm." Grandpa clears his throat. "Wouldn't they expect it to smell like one?" "No. Buyers want the ambience of the country, but none of the distasteful reality. You'll need to remove the manure and replace it with fresh straw, of course. We want those barns smelling sweet. By the time I'm done, this will be the prettiest farm in Idaho. Of course, if we get lucky and have a developer take interest, all that wouldn't matter, and the payoff would be far larger." Payoff? I grip my teeth at the way she talks to him. Grandpa knows more than she'll ever hope to learn, and she talks to him like he's a child. "I'm glad to see the packing is underway," Dolly says. "The more you can pack up or throw away, the better. Now that the papers are in order, I'll post a sign. We'll be far more aggressive after you've done what I've told you. Don't forget, I'll be back." The screen door bangs open and she glides down the steps to her fancy Cadillac. Just before she gets in her car, her phone rings and she whips it out. "Hello?" Scotty and I peer through the bushes beside the house while she waits, her long electric green nails thrumming against the hood of the car. If I'd seen her in town, I'd have thought her pretty, with her black hair all fancy like a runway model and penciled eyebrows and shadowed eyes, same as you'd see in movies. But when she talks, a giant mole, or maybe a wart, bobs at the corner of her mouth like a bug trying to decide if it's going to jump in or not. I wish it would. I bet a beetle down her throat would make her quiet down and leave my family alone. "I'm just leaving. I'll be back to the Pocatello office in 20 minutes. No, they didn't back out. Like I told you, with all the development for the new Siphon I-15 exchange and the North Cape project, this is prime real estate. This is exactly the sort of place you're looking for." She laughs again, more of a soft cackle really, then slips inside her car and revs the engine before heading out to the road. What kind of a person laughs about ruining someone else's life? We're just another juicy fly she's caught in her web. She might look like a movie star, but all that face paint and those fancy clothes can't make up for an evil heart. Scotty and I watch as she stops at the end of the lane and hauls a big white board out of the trunk and over to the poles her goons installed the day before. I cringe at the whir of her electric drill that whines like a demon mosquito drilling holes into the heart of our farm. "That must be the for sale sign," Scotty whispers. "I hate that thing. They'll never let us keep the peacock now." He's right. If Dolly wants everything cleared out, it's just a matter of time before Mom and Grandpa discover our blue-feathered secret. "What'll we do?" Scotty says. "How do we farm without the farm?" Dolly drives off, her skin bright and cheery at the end of the driveway, and the whole thing swirls in my head until one thought is louder than all the rest. We need a plan. If we make the barn smelly enough, maybe nobody will want our farm. Ever. I bet a couple of gophers stuffed in Dolly's car would make her think twice about coming back. Or maybe slugs in her tea. Dad said it was my job to watch over the farm while he's gone, and he'd never want this. Never in a million years. He's not here to protect our family from being caught in Miss Dolly's web of lies. But I am. A war plan starts to take shape in my head, and then I'm running to the tool shed, my braid bouncing against my back as I weave around the tractors and over tufts of grass. "What?" Scotty races beside me. "What are you going to do?" I spy what I need and I wrench the wood saw off the peg. I'm going to cut that sign right down to the ground. We skirt the house and slip down the lane. Righteous fury swells inside like an irrigation pump shooting hot water straight inside my chest. How dare she laugh about taking our farm away? How dare she break my family all to bits? She might fight dirty with fancy cars, fancy words, and fancy clothes, but there isn't a farm girl ever born alive that doesn't know how to fight dirty right back. She thinks she's got us whipped, but this farm girl's got a thing or two up her sleeve, and I've not lost the fight yet. I leap over a side ditch and lift my saw overhead like a sword. "Come on, we're going to war." And that's the end of chapter 3. This here is King George, and he wants me to put him down. But he's one that wakes us up every morning. He's quite loud, and he's pretty cool. He's got pretty eyes. He's like, "What are you doing?" We like to let them loose to run around, but we have problems out here with a lot of foxes and things getting into the chickens, so we can't let them loose as much as we want to. This is another one of our roosters right here. This one's a silky, and he has, see how the top of his head is black? It's a little different color than the other one. And he has feathers on his feet. See, rooster has spurs.
Thanks for listening, and next week I'm going to show you our peacock named Royal.